When your old career gives you lemons, throw in some ice, mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport, and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Too early. Deion Dawkins, too early. Well, hello and welcome. Thank you for getting your pod on. Thank you for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word about the pirate ship. Tell your friends. Tell your friends that you listen to Billified. The Buffalo Bills are on a it looked like a hot streak, Danny. I don't know what to think of this win or not. It's the Tennessee Titans with a backup, Mason Rudolph,
who they beat last year in the playoffs with Pittsburgh.
Looked great. Mason looked
He
really
looked solid
good
in the first half.
He really did. He
played within himself.
And then I don't know if it's McDermott. Does he adjust at the half? I had no doubt in my mind at any point during this game that they were going to walk. The score ended exactly how I thought it would be. What was it, 30-something to 10?
Yeah, it's 31-10.
31-10.
Or 34-10, excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to say 33-10. But if you can't tell, I had been over at my friend Damian Mulconry's bar.
Great American.
And I was drinking
for an Irishman.
A little bit too much. And not drinking too much. I just had a couple.
I saw that at FanDuel. Moranimal, 7.5 drinks.
Well, I didn't have 7.5, but
I took the over. That's why I didn't get the payout.
Our favorite caller.
That and the Yankees were my parlay this weekend. So at least I got one half of
Hey,
it.
but the Yankees on the way to the World Series.
Back to the World
Come on,
Series.
Danny, you got to be excited.
I am. It's our rite of passage as Yankee fans. It's been too long.
And the Bills, I mean, could they go on a run here for a while?
I think
Amari Cooper in the first half,
Mm-hmm.
when Amari was targeted, I almost feel like he wasn't used to the speed of Josh Allen's throw. And like it hit his
a
hands,
massage gun.
Man. Yeah, like he lost that.
Well, Deshaun Watson has one of the slowest arms in the NFL, and he probably got used to it. Like when he came out of college, he only throws the ball like 45 miles an hour, which is a joke. The thing is that Bill O'Brien's like, okay, we won't make you throw bombs or we'll just make quick slants and make the offense really quick for you, so it won't matter. But he doesn't have a fraction of the speed that Allen has.
So that's why
it's like Roger Clemens throwing balls.
I'm really
from Allen.
I'm not kidding. I wondered if that first one where it bounced off his hands was because he just wasn't used to the speed of Josh Allen. And then after that, caught the touchdown pass, even though he seemed to sort of stutter with that. But it was in there.
I caught it.
And then had a great catch along the sideline. And that was an amazing catch.
Right.
I don't know how the hell Josh Allen got it in there.
I think if Amari Cooper isn't playing in this game, I think this is one of those like 17-10 games. Or perhaps maybe a 17-14 game, something like that.
Really?
He really was impactful just by his presence alone. Think about this. So now, I don't want to complicate this as far as like sports speak, though. You mentioned the Yankees. Your pitching rotations are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Your best pitcher's your 1. Your second best pitcher's a 2. It's the same thing with wide receivers.
Who's the guy that pitched last night that has a mustache that looks like
Tim Hill?
He looks older than me.
Yeah, that's why I've tweeted.
Tim Hill, honest to God, looks like he
looks like he's 60 years old.
Tim Hill, yes, he does. And he's not. And he doesn't have any gray in his mustache or anything.
Yeah.
But there's something about he has a dour look on his face.
Right.
And he's not. Who's the guy, too, who does completely sidearm?
Well, that's Tim Hill. He's the sidearm guy, the lefty. But they picked him up off waivers. He was in Chicago hating life with the White Sox, and all of a sudden he's going to the World Series. But like with wide receivers, Amari becomes the 1 now. So now everybody else falls in line, and your tight ends are still your tight ends, no matter what. So in other words, now Shakir doesn't have to be the 1. He could be the slot receiver. Coleman could be the 3, right? The Z receiver on the other side. Coleman had a hell of a game today.
Yeah.
Right.
He really did.
Shakir had some big clutch catches today. Kincaid had a great day today. He caught some big balls today.
Yeah.
And so because Cooper's there, now he's got to be accounted for, and it makes everybody else better. The first half, they kept shooting themselves in the feet. And I realized that their offensive coordinator, like, you ever heard the expression, like, sometimes the rescuer needs to be rescued?
Oh, yeah.
That's Josh Allen. He needed to be rescued because he's pressing. He's doing everything himself because the play calling in the first half was they called the game scared. That 3rd and 1, it goes off Cooper's hands. Did the Bills go for it? They could have. It was deep in their zone. Did they?
Yeah.
No. And so
why didn't they?
Because McDermott coaches scared.
Yeah.
often, not always. Like he'll go for it if it's at midfield, but if it's like at one point, I think they punted on Tennessee's 46 in the first half after the turnover that they got. But they finally got their act together in the second half. What happened was Tennessee was driving and they stopped Tennessee on downs. I thought they had the first down on second down, and the referees gave them a bad spot. 3rd and 1, they tried to run it. They didn't get it. So 4th and 2, they go for it. But which is the right call. But you don't run the ball up the gut on a 4th and 2 if you just ran it in the previous play. Right. The Bills stopped them. 2 plays later, they're in the end zone, and all of a sudden, it's a totally different game, right? And that's kind of what changed things. Then Allen could take a breath, and the receivers could take a breath, and the offensive coordinator could take a breath. But when you get nailed for stupid false start penalties, Deion Dawkins, or when you go run, and there's a third pass and you don't have a first down, it's incomplete, and you got a punt, you're going to get yourself into these 3-and-out situations, which the Bills were in often. The other thing, too, is Epinesa dropped an interception in the first half, and I think the second drive, and the Titans went down the field and scored. If he catches that, we got a completely different ball game here. Well, but they finally they came to their senses in the second half.
They did come to their senses. They seem to be a team that can adjust extremely well at the half. Mm-hmm. Like extremely well,
but they can't keep playing down to opponents.
No,
in the first half, it felt like they were playing down to.
I think there was a point where they had 18 yards of offense.
18 yards of offense. They became the silly stat.
Yeah,
team.
like it's which is unheard of, right?
Yeah.
And you've got Josh Allen, and then it was like everything just woke up. And I felt like as a fan and watching this, I thought, well, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The score ended up exactly where I thought it would be. Was it 31-10, 33-10, something like that? And I go, this team to me,
Nostradamus.
Well, I don't know that I even called it that. I can't say that.
That's pretty good though.
But I thought, boy, this team could really be. I mean, everybody's joking where I was at Mulconnery's. Could it be a Super Bowl team and this and that and blah blah blah? Yeah,
we went from this team's trash in the first half, fire the offensive coordinator, to, hey, could this be the beginning of a run?
It could be a run. It could be a run.
I think. Well, they got a pretty cake schedule. Like the Bills had the hardest first half of the season.
Yeah,
and that's over now.
What happened?
So now the easy now. It's not going to be a cakewalk in Seattle next week. Our buddy Greg's going.
Yeah,
Greg Connors. But I mean, they could coast. Their hardest games are Kansas City and San Francisco at home.
I drank a lot this afternoon, just to let you know.
That's all right.
To watch the game. Not a lot.
You're allowed.
A few more.
It's Sunday.
I'll tell you this. I haven't had a lot to drink in a couple of weeks.
To
maybe
harder,
close to a month.
Okay.
I have not been drinking. Maybe a beer here or there, but definitely not. And the word is, what happened to you? Where have you been? So
what are you, Barney on The Simpsons?
I know.
Coffee.
So I went and so Jameson and I joined the YMCA because Jameson loves playing basketball. He actually got to play today.
I saw that.
And he got to play with Mr. NFL.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he was in a game with Mr. NFL. Mr. NFL was on the opposing team. Jameson hit a nice 3-pointer from the corner. I mean,
in your face, Charlie Murphy.
Well, he's 14 and he's as big or bigger than some of the guys. And
he's bigger than I am.
These guys are, some of them are, even at the shorter guys, are pretty aggressive and stuff. So I think it's a great learning thing. Always try to play up. So he did a nice job there. We did that this morning at the YMCA. And then I was trying to avoid watching the game anywhere but home. And he was over here. And I said, well, you know what? I'll come to the Village then. I dropped him off at the Village. I said, I watched the first half at home because I needed to see this. I don't know what happens with fans, that we need to be in our environment.
So my wife has gone from never watched a football game in her life
right.
to I got to be showered by 12:57 so I can be dressed by 12:59 because she goes, the kickoff at 1 or 1:05. No, the NFL doesn't screw around. She goes, well, we know that's not true, but it's 1 o'clock, right? I go, yeah. Okay, I'm going to hurry. I'm like, wow. Okay, all right, you hurry. I mean, yeah. So now I think she has adopted that mantra.
Yes,
I got to be in my chair in front of the TV at kickoff. Period.
It's a great bonding thing. I mean, it really is. As much as you can find fault with whatever if you want to, but there's a great bonding thing there too. So that's when I stumbled down to I walked to Montgomery's, and then I stumbled back to from Montgomery's. And
glad you didn't swim.
I didn't.
You could theoretically.
Well, I could theoretically. We often talked about putting a zip line across.
I wouldn't put that past Damien. Hey, Jimmy Fallon's coming. You want to see our zip line?
Well, Jameson, so I get a call today, and I don't know what to say to this. I get a call from Jameson. Hey, I ran into Damien. I said, okay. I just want to let you know, he was with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's kids and his godson, and they were going for ice cream. And he asked me if I wanted anything, and I said, if you feel like buying me anything. And I go, that's not the answer. I gave you money. So I see Damien later. I don't care. Damien bought him ice cream.
That is pretty cool.
Well, that has been.
You want some cream de menthe on there?
It's
like Bailey's for kids.
Let me just say for a moment, and this podcast is all over the place, right? But
that's all right. How's that any different?
Well, it's not any different. But Damien has always been, at least to me, and I think to a certain, that it's family.
Mm-hmm.
That guy has been family. I remember when my middle son, Jordan, who's in between Jackson and Jameson, had food allergies or something. And he had not food allergies or something. He had severe food allergies, really bad. And something happened and we were going to get ice cream. So I said, we got to get the coconut milk and this and that. And so we're getting it. And Damien's like, what do you want? We ran into him in the store. What do you want? And I go, Damien, you don't want to pay for this. This is the shit that's like $19 a pint. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's like, I don't care. Like he would do anything for anybody if you know, even if you don't know him. And there was somebody else who said to me tonight, hey man, it was my daughter that you did a guest
for?
Yeah, guest bartending.
Oh, cool.
And he said we left the next day. And he goes, thanks to Damien, we had like 10 grand to go. And the daughter was battling a really rare form of cancer, very young. And I think Germany, where I believe Eddie Van Halen was for a while, they have just more advanced therapies.
Okay.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know how
different kinds of laws that allow certain things, right? Because the FDA approvals.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, there's certain countries you want to go to, and Germany's one of them.
So that was the deal. Okay, good.
You don't want to be getting surgery in Barbados or something.
Oh, Barbados, man, it sounds lovely.
Yeah, for vacation.
It sounds lovely.
Yeah.
You get a little sand in your incision, and then maybe a pearl pops out. I have no idea.
Yeah, it could happen.
So with the Bills now, Danny, in your opinion, how comfortable are you feeling with Amari Cooper being here and advancing in the playoffs further than maybe they have?
I think they're good. I wrote a column in the Times this weekend. I said, hey, look, here's what's going to happen. The Bills are going to go on this run, and everyone's going to get excited. But unless they clean up the fundamental problems, which we saw in the first half of this game, they're going to manifest themselves in the playoffs. And I think you're going to end up in the divisional round like you always do. I hate that. But here's the thing. You'll never be disappointed. If they go beyond that, you won't be disappointed. If they stop there, well, we told you, you won't be disappointed. You know, I'm tempering expectations. This team was not meant to. I always believe they win the division, but look at who they're playing in the division.
Yeah.
This division's awful. Like somebody tweeted out today. So the early game was Jacksonville, quote, hosting New England in London, right? Okay. Jacksonville's on the hot seat right now. Their head coach and quarterback are, and they doubled up New England pretty easily. And people tweeted out, hey, is Gerard Mayo even here? like as if like they never showed him on the camera. Like it's almost like he has no presence on the sideline, where Belichick was Belichick, right? He's got to follow that dude. You know, I mean, the Bills, that division's so winnable. Even with the Jets and Rodgers, it's so winnable. But okay, so they'll get a home game and they'll win that first playoff game. It's the second one that's the hump. Are you going to win that one? Well, you got some pretty stiff competition, and it's in the usual suspects: Baltimore and Kansas City, and now you have Houston showing up.
Yeah.
And if San Diego, I'm sorry, LA, the Chargers ever get their act together, look out for them too, because they're probably, if they make the playoffs, will be showing up. And that means Justin Herbert's playing pretty well, and Jim Harbaugh's got that team rolling. It's only October still. So I don't expect them to go past the divisional round because they haven't cleaned up the problems that they've had for 5 years. That being said, I mean, if they do go on, oh my goodness, what a year it'll be.
Yeah.
Like
And a
McDermott
year-
should be coach of the year.
Well,
and I'm not a
you,
McDermott guy.
did you think that there would be a dip this year? And by a dip, I mean, look, you got Josh Allen. You will make it to the playoffs.
Yes.
No doubt there.
But I thought they'd be flat.
Well,
Like,
almost because
not going any further than they normally
your
do.
salary cap is limited.
Yeah, well, you had to trade Stephon
Yes,
Diggs. He
yes.
insisted,
Yes.
right? By the way, he got into a fight before the game in Green Bay.
We'll
today.
get to all that.
They lost. But I mean, yeah, it was going to be. And then your kicker, they had to keep him because they would have taken another hit, right? By the way, they brought in a guy this week to compete with him
Yeah.
and have a kickoff. And Bass, thank God, won that. But I mean, I expected a little bit of a step back. But what upset me was that in the first 3 weeks, all of a sudden, all these Buffalo reporters are going, we're close to the team, I should say. Not the main media, but the people who are close to the team who like get certain access that other guys don't. Maybe last year was the rebuilding year. I'm like, wait a minute. No. We can't just go from one side of the pendulum and swing back to and overcorrect to the other. And like today's game, where if you read Twitter before, 220, 230, you would have thought that Sean McDermott was coaching in the drought era, and these were the drought era Ryan Fitzpatrick Buffalo Bills.
Right.
And then in the second
Right.
half, hey, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We got it. Mari Cooper.
Yeah.
Whoop, get out the
This is
trade.
what I'm
Here we
saying.
go. Get your tickets now.
All right. We'll take them on. I have some questions, NFL related. This will be a little bit of a sports heavy podcast. But I have questions about Tom Brady and what's happening with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I have questions that I can't remember, but I will.
All right, we'll get there.
I will figure it out. We'll get to all that.
I heard Guinness will bring back your memory.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like
like the taste.
Guinness.
Yeah.
No, it's ginseng.
Yeah,
It's got cheese in it. Yeah. We'll get to all that right after this.
Your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. And the moment that you wander apart from me, I wanna feel.
Could it define the 70s? I don't know.
The Bee Gees?
Yeah.
There's that line in Wayne's World where Wayne goes, "Yeah, Led Zeppelin didn't write tunes everybody liked. They left that to the Bee Gees."
Yeah.
I guess there's a documentary about the Bee Gees. I don't know if it was on HBO Max or Hulu.
Yeah.
And I got through half of it, and I was so bored that I just turned it off. And I never do that. I love
Really?
musical document. I just couldn't finish it.
Oh, that's.
I heard it was really good, but I'm like, when are we getting to the good? When's the good?
Well, it didn't match your.
Well, I mean, I'm a Tragically Hip fan. They have one about them on Amazon. I watched the first episode. I was bored to tears. I'm like, I got to finish this. This is a series.
So let me ask you about, Tom Brady and his. Well,
The hologram or the real Tom Brady?
no, the real Tom Brady. I'm very curious as to, and I'm looking for somebody with a sports mind like yours.
I appreciate that. Bill. Somebody recognizes that finally.
Well,
After 44 years, finally someone. Just joking.
but we have
Kinda.
a situation where he has a minority ownership in the we're putting people's comments up on the screen.
In the Raiders.
So with the pirate ship hotline, there's no vilified recording. All right, we'll have to work on that tomorrow. It'll be Tuesday
So
thing tomorrow.
the Raiders are worth $3.5 billion, according to CNBC, and he bought 10% stake.
10%.
So that's $350 million. So, I mean, I know the NFL, they pay a lot. I didn't know that, like, between that and TB12 and his divorce with Giselle and the money that he was sued for with the crypto stuff, that he had $350 million to just throw at the Raiders.
Well, he did.
But he did.
So $350 million. Here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of restrictions on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He cannot go to team practices.
Well, because he's a Fox analyst making
This is my
$37.5
point.
million a year.
Right.
He can't go to team practices.
I got to think his accountant's going, you got to keep that Fox job if you're
Yeah.
going to do this.
Right.
But the question is, can you keep the Fox job that many people don't think you're that good at anyway? Right? You're not blowing the world away
Right,
in
that's-
terms of right. You're not
right.
Tony Romo.
Yeah, Tony Romo came in. Everybody was like, "Wow!" Like
Yes.
the first game, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about.
So, and not that Brady doesn't, and he's had moments. I will say that, but he doesn't have that same necessary consistency. But the guy is new to this,
Mm-hmm.
and almost right at the beginning, he's being handcuffed
Yes,
in terms of not being able to go to teams' practices and talk to the players and all the things they do before a broadcast.
Well, today on the Bills postgame show, they were talking about how the announced team, the broadcast team, had all this extra information that they didn't have about Ray Davis at practice and all this other stuff. And these guys get fed a lot of information, provided that, hey, you don't spill it to anybody.
exactly.
It's you're confidential. And Tom Brady, as a part owner, it's a conflict of interest for him to be a part owner of the Raiders, but yet going in, to Kansas City and covering a game,
Thank
or
you.
going to San Francisco.
Thank you.
Where guess who's playing? Oh, the Niners and the Chiefs.
Right.
And who's doing the game? Well, Tom Brady's. I believe he's doing the game. And so it's like, how come he is allowed to do that? So they had to say no. So he can't criticize the officials. He can't criticize certain teams. I mean, he's got a lot of rules, and they're spending $37 million a year on this dude. And he's not even that good. He's just Tom Brady.
Well, this is my thing. Is he able to keep that job?
That's up to Fox.
And was this a mistake for him to buy into the Raiders, or was it a brilliant move?
Well, I think it's a brilliant move, because that elevator is going to continue to go up. That money's going to roll in. Think about this. 10 years ago, Terry and Kim Pagula bought the Buffalo Bills, and he at a price at somewhere about 1.5 or $1.6 billion. All right. This past week, it's been rumored or reported that Josie Altidore, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady, who all spent time in Toronto, are going to buy a minority stake in the Bills, maybe 10%.
The Bills.
The Bills, right.
Okay.
And the price would be somewhere in the the 9 to 10 figure range, which would be hundreds of millions of dollars to $1 billion. That's just in 10 years. So 10 years from now, at that rate, You know, 10 years from now, the Bills could be worth like, you know, $30 billion, or even if it's half that, if it's $15 billion, they're going to make their money back regardless. Like everybody said, when John Elway was up for his final contract with the Broncos, he had some financial problems. He wasn't exactly a financial whiz. He invested in some businesses. So did Michael Jordan. Made some bad investments in car dealerships or whatever. And so he really needed the money. And Pat Bowlen, the owner, goes, I can't give you that kind of money. What I can do is give you an interest in the team, a stake in the team. And he turned it down because he needed the cash now. Like JG Wentworth, I need my cash now, right? He would have been a billionaire.
It's my cash and I need it now.
Right. Yeah. When you're sitting on your couch, like watching Oprah,
Right.
he would have been a billionaire at this point if he had just taken, or a multi-millionaire,
Right.
if he had just taken that. And the NFL would have had to approve it. Now the NFL has to go through painstaking approvals to get everybody approved. They don't want an NHL situation going on. So with Brady, though, that is a wise move. But he could end up like Montana. If you remember, Joe Montana's like, Montana's going to go straight to the broadcast booth. Well, Montana ended up being on NFL Live, and he was terrible. He was boring. He didn't say anything.
I know.
He couldn't diagram anything.
No.
He was just like, you went from OJ, and OJ was fantastic. Then OJ killed 2 people. So now they got to replace him with Montana. Montana's like, yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, so I was talking about this with somebody today,
Mhm.
and I think, you look at Josh Allen, you look at these other players, and Josh Allen just looks like a boy in a man's body. Does he not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he can't even grow a beard right.
No. And so you look at all this stuff and you go, okay, but the playbook is so complicated.
Right.
Like to know all the plays. And that's why, granted, he's got a little bit of a cheat sheet,
Mm-hmm.
but that ain't helping everything.
Yeah, it's like a menu at a Chinese restaurant. All right, what to call number 32
You got to work and work.
with a side of 7.
And so there's so much stuff there. But I remember, who was the guy? I think he won the Heisman, and he was at the University of Texas, and it was one of the biggest
Vince Young.
college. Yeah, Vince Young.
Vince Young. He
So
stopped
Vince-
USC.
So Vince Young, right? And which I think both those.
They're supposed to be the greatest college team ever. Nobody could
Yes.
beat these guys.
So
And they beat them in the Rose Bowl.
the Vince Young comes to Buffalo,
Oh, yeah. Right.
and we did an interview.
Yeah.
I think, were we together when that happened?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, we had to be.
Yeah.
So I just remember thinking, this is one of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. Like truly one of the dumbest fucking humans. And I go, how does this guy, they must have kept it really simple in college. And I don't mean that disparagingly, but I mean it. I guess there's no other way to say it but disparagingly. But he was just kind of dumb. Like when he even talked to you, you were like, whoa.
Yeah.
And
Well, like the story was that his Wonderlic score was in the single digits. And that-
I get
well,
it.
So here's what happened. So then like that got out and they let him retake it. He goes, no, it was a 17, which is still not good, but it's a way better than 7.
Mm.
Like there was like a PR campaign behind getting his Wonderlic score up.
Okay, well, and which that I can understand as well, right? You don't want to have that. I took the SATs after I think the first time I got whatever, and then I went and learned how to take the test and took the test, and then did significantly better. But I go, that is such a hard thing. So as you're watching this, you're watching guys like, how do they figure that out?
Right. Right. Well, that was the big thing about Jim Kelly, right?
Yeah.
He could process. The thing that separates an NFL quarterback is their speed of processing a play. Like for some reason, they may not be able to do math, but they can process plays. It's their processing ability on the field. They can visualize the play. They can call the play. Because they've been accustomed to it over and over again. And when you're that, I mean, Kelly threw balls that, like, if you went back and watched some of the throws Jim Kelly made, you're like, how did he do that? And he threw off his back foot too all the time. But it's all processing. Like Brett Favre is not a genius by any stretch. Okay. Just ask anybody who knows Brett Favre. Brett Favre is a country bumpkin, but the guy could process on an NFL playing field. And if anybody ever handed you an NFL playbook and said, okay, diagram this play, spider 2, Y banana, Z out, Y flat.
See, this is what I'm saying to you.
Most people will be like, what the hell is that? But a football player in a Division III could actually go, okay, yeah, here's what that means. It's hard, but they're trained in it. They grew up in it. They understand it. And it's indoctrinated in them year by year by year. It's like kind of like learning English.
Yeah.
You know, you may not be able to like get the sentence or like spell the words correctly necessarily, but you know how to talk.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing. It's like learning a language.
All right. Well, very good. Why don't we take a moment? I'm going to see if Race and Randy came on. Will join us.
Buddy, I got to talk to you.
Yeah. But
He texted me during the game too.
He did.
Good thing they got Amari Cooper, buddy. That seemed to work out, didn't it? Randy, one catch for a touchdown. This is like one touchdown into the game.
By the way, I thought he was
It was the second pass thrown to him. Yeah, that worked out.
Well, it did.
It did.
I got him 6 points. There's also I don't know if anybody saw this, and I don't mean this in any political way other than really President Trump. I have to play this. I have to find it and I have to play it.
You get an extra McNugget, Billy.
President Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania talking about Arnold Palmer.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen this?
I heard about it.
Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
I got to play it for you.
He was doing drive-through at McDonald's yesterday.
The fuck?
Hand out extra McNuggets.
Okay. They look all fine.
Yeah.
Nothing against him. But I go, I have never heard anybody running for president even come close to this. Is it funny? Yes. Is it funny in the context of like a roast somewhere? Absolutely. Or a retirement statement? Sure. As a presidential candidate, I don't know. You could beat me up about that. All I'm saying to you is I don't know because I haven't seen it before, so I don't know. We will get to that right after this. Oh, come on, man. Carl Douglas from the 70s.
Oh, I thought you meant OJ's lawyer, Carl
No,
Douglas. Oh.
I think I'll tell you a little laugh I had today. Oh. Could this song sum up the 70s?
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
It
Those
could.
cats were fast as lightning.
Because it seemed like the 70s really like made up for the 60s. There was we had an assassination of a president.
Yeah.
We had assassination of his brother.
Yeah.
We had who was a presidential candidate. We had an assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We had an assassination of Malcolm X. I mean, we had all the protests. Woodstock happened and all that stuff. And in the 70s, everything kind of just, you had, all the political controversy, which never seemed to end. It seemed like America kind of like, I wasn't here for it, but kind of like lightened up a little bit.
Maybe that could be. There was Studio 54 was
Mhm.
very famous, and it was people were a little looser and a little
Mhm.
Yeah. We had songs like this. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, it picked up a little bit.
Yes, it did. And
Let's go back to the 50s. Well, they couldn't go back to the 50s, so they invented something new. It's called
It's
the
so
70s.
weird though how much change there was between the 50s and the 80s, because we have that much amount of time or more has elapsed between now and the 80s.
Yeah.
And we
Between
had
Vanilla Ice and now.
when you watch Back to the Future, it looks like it's way long time ago that things exploded exponentially in terms of what we were able to do in technology and all that stuff. I don't know. Very,
They say
very
knowledge doubles every 7 years or something. Now it's like doubling every 20 minutes. I don't know about that. But I'm saying, like, because of all the advancements. Think about this. Like, for me, the 90s never really stopped, except for clothes got a little
You
bit
can tell
tighter.
why you're
Yeah,
they
my
got-
90210 sideburns.
your sideburns and the fact that your clothes got tighter because you put on weight.
That is true too.
But you look great now.
Thank you. Yeah, I
God
appreciate that.
damn, man.
But remember the bowl
Custom
cuts?
fat loss system making you
It
look
worked.
beautiful. It did. It did.
Our Kevin's gonna do it.
Well, bite your tongue. I don't know.
Well, okay.
Yes, there's a possibility that he may.
Well, if he don't want to do it, I know somebody who will.
All right. Well, we can make those arrangements. Yes, sir.
He should do it though. But yeah, I mean, think about all if you think about it, once the internet came on, then all we needed to do was just speed up the internet.
Yes.
Right. It went from nobody had it until a few wealthy people had it.
Right.
Then with America Online, everybody got it.
Yeah.
But you had to have dial-up. Then
You got
dial-up
it.
got cut out.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone. You can't use the
Yeah.
internet now. Remember that whole conversation?
Yes.
And then it became, and then the internet just made things, okay, now who gets the internet and how fast do you get it? And then when Steve Jobs came out with the iPhone, that changed everything again. But ultimately, clothing and hair, and it didn't change all that much. We just communicate now more than ever before.
I like the way the 70s looked with women, which sounds terrible.
The
but I-
Farrah Fawcett, the feathered hair,
Yeah, I like the
You like
big,
that?
thicker hair, the
Jordache jeans.
Yeah,
Or was
there
it more
was some-
80s?
No, it was more 80s.
Okay.
But the
Chic jeans.
just I don't know. There was something about it. There was a sexiness about it.
Well, women weren't anorexic then, or if they were, you didn't know about it.
Yeah, they weren't, but they were thin. They were certainly curvy, and
Mhm.
yeah,
But they looked like real women.
yeah,
you know?
man. That's right.
Yeah, they did.
That's right.
They
buddy.
did.
Yeah, I like them real women. Racer Randy can't come on tonight, so we will hear from him later. I always like getting Racer Randy to react to things in the news.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what's happening in the news because I was so focused on the Bills and
Well,
other things.
Your average voter is Racing Randy.
Yeah. Right.
He
Yeah.
really is.
Yes. I was very curious as, I'm always curious to listen to people and what their thoughts are
Mhm.
on the presidential race, because they go, I get there's a lot of people that, anybody but Trump, or everybody else is an idiot but Trump. So I don't know. But it's very interesting to hear people's thoughts on this kind of stuff
Mhm.
to me, because I think,
My whole thing with the presidential elections, really since Obama's second term, is that the people we want to run for president don't want the job, and the people who want the job are people who shouldn't be president.
you think so?
I've really felt that way since the Trump-Hillary election,
Yeah.
since the Trump-Biden election. I mean, because the king gets his head chopped off. And people have figured out who are holding all the strings are like, yeah, I don't want that job. I need a bullet shield. Who's that going to be? Oh, the president of the United States. And there's two sides to that coin. I wish there were more, but apparently there's only two. And it's like, this is the best we can do, folks. Like George Carlin said, I don't make fun of politicians. This is the best we can do, folks.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
I do know this. I'll say this.
Yeah.
When Trump got elected, I was scared.
Okay.
But those 4 years, I mean, COVID would have happened no matter who the president was.
Absolutely.
So you cannot blame him for that.
Blame that.
It was a good 4-year period.
Yeah.
The economy was up. Life was better.
Yeah.
Life was better then.
I don't know if you can replicate that again, if he's seen as such a joke. I really don't know. But I want to play you a piece of President Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania. This is
that's the big battleground state. Elon's doing it too.
I love women, but this guy.
Let me go back. Let me see if I got to back it up.
This is a guy that was old man when
Let's go back this up. There we go.
Arnold Palmer was old man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women.
Yes.
But this is a guy that was old man when he took showers with the other pros. They came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then he went on to say, like, I'm getting everybody has it now, but I saw a better, cleaner version earlier, which basically was like, you know, and he goes, they came out and they said he was all man. He's all man. I know I shouldn't tell that story, but I had to say it. I had to say it because he's in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, where Arnold's from. But I will say, if you look at things, I don't know that there's ever been that kind of talk out of a presidential candidate's mouth. Has there ever? And look, you can love Trump, you can hate Trump. I'm just asking simply the question, have we ever seen anything like this? That is a next level. It's weird. I've never, you're talking about a man's big dick, which, by the way, President Trump does that at a dinner or a roast or something.
Or a tribute.
He's on the campaign trail doing this. I've just never seen that. And so to me, it jumps off the page. It's a little weird that he's going to be talking about Arnold Palmer's huge putter. But I the rest of it, but then I go, and well, am I uptight? Do I care? But shouldn't you be using that time to talk about what you're going to do? Then you're going to talk about Arnold Palmer's putter.
Well, I think he's trying to be relatable.
I get that.
But I mean, because here's the thing. Trump has gone on, like Vivek really set the tone of going on podcasts. And I think Trump, now that they're all on the same page, Vivek has kind of like told, hey, you need to go on podcasts because your opponent's not doing it.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be questioned. And Trump, he'll go anywhere. He doesn't care. He's fearless. And so, I mean, you've been shot at now, what, 3 times?
Yeah.
So I think some words aren't going to hurt you. And he goes on Theo Vaughn's podcast, and he goes on Andrew Schultz's podcast, and Patrick Bet-David's podcast. And he just does, I think we might be able to get him on here if New York was a swing state. It's not. And he just doesn't care. But the thing is, have you ever seen the viral video of President Obama talking about Osama bin Laden dying? Osama bin Laden is dead. And he was very presidential about it because they didn't want to upset, the people overseas and stuff. Then Trump is in charge when the head of ISIS is killed. He goes, and he died like a dog, a beautiful dog. I mean, it's like these guys. I mean, like the days of diplomacy, diplomatic speak with Trump are out the window. I don't know if it's just Trump or if it's.
Here's the terrible, terrible part. I look at all this shit and I go, I'm not sure I should push a button for this dude. But I sure as hell find him entertaining.
He is entertaining, and I'll tell you what, man. I think he spooks. I think he spooks the world dictators, because at least dictators around the world know America is governed by politics. With Trump, all bets are off.
They are.
I'll hit the button. I'll do it.
It's what I'm
I got a remote on my phone. All I gotta do is hit the button, and poof, there goes North Korea, Kim Jong-un. There it goes. I'll turn into a Taj Mahal. I'll do it. I'll give it to. I'll sell it to India. Let Donnie Jr. run it.
I
mean,
don't know what the right.
and I think they're afraid of him
I wouldn't be surprised.
because
would not
he's
be
kind of wired like they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, and I don't want to get into this whole thing because people
I know.
are so passionate,
Oh, of course.
about President Trump and the freedoms things.
Democracy
But
hangs in
I
the balance.
just, I will just say, I don't remember somebody who
A presidential candidate just talking like it's a roast
Well,
all
talk-
the time.
talking like that or having whether or not he had sex with a porn star. I don't know, but he allegedly paid her hush money and
Yeah.
all these scandal things. Back in the day, that would just never fly.
No.
You wouldn't have got past anything. And
or the things that you did, like, okay, well, let's be fair here. Clinton did the same stuff, but it was handled in a presidential manner because America
but
still.
he didn't pay a porn star to have sex.
No, he- no,
And I look, okay, let's put it this way. Sex outside of marriage, porn star or not.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, let's call it equal.
Well, he did ask Monica Lewinsky to lie under oath,
Yeah.
like perjure herself.
yeah.
Like she's 19 years old, 20 years
Yeah,
old. I
yeah.
mean, that is a big. The president of the United States is asking you to, like, what are you gonna do at that point, right?
Exactly.
You know, but the Kennedys were like horrible at this stuff. You know, just like the books about the Kennedy, how they abused
do
women.
do we just think like Trump's at least above board on some of these things? And again, not to,
He's just open about it.
I don't know.
Well, that was Chappelle's. So remember when Chappelle opened Saturday Night Live
Yeah.
after Trump got elected?
Yeah.
So then Biden gets elected. So everyone's like, oh, we got to see Trump. We got to see Chappelle on Saturday Night Live. What's he going to say? And he didn't tell everybody what they wanted to hear. He talked about how Trump was the only president who actually said the truth when he was debating Hillary. And he goes, I know the system is rigged because I benefit from it. And Chappelle goes, gee, damn.
Yeah, right.
Like what? And like Obama and Hillary were like, well, that's not true. That's not true. He goes, no, it is. And he's like, it's almost like are you trying to sabotage yourself? But he wasn't. He was just being himself.
Right.
Like he doesn't have that filter in his head. Just whatever it comes through his head is going through his mouth. Like today, I guess at a rally in PA, he called Sage Steele Stage Seal, and then he called her Paige Steele. Like he couldn't get her name right two or three times.
Yeah.
He just whatever comes through his head. Like that speech he gave at the RNC. Or it's like, is he going to wrap it up? Is he reading from a teleprompter? He's just talking. Like the speech went like everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I think it's just Trump. I don't see any other presidential candidate, maybe unless they're like Trump. Like if George Steinbrenner were running for president, I could see him doing the same thing.
But I don't see this ever flying.
I don't see this flying. No, because America still has this politeness about it.
Yeah, I think you
got to respect everybody.
There is a thing where I do wonder if people are just like, nah, I can't. Like we can't have our president talking about Arnold Palmer's dick. It's just,
I'm sure there are some people, but I think at that point,
Ah.
I think there's other people who are like, suck it up. We need this one for whatever side they're on. If they believe in Trump's side of things, they're going to be like, dude, listen, like I heard a pastor today not rip on both candidates, but say, hey, look, this person says this. And he wasn't trying to talk about politics. He's saying, and then, President Trump, says stuff like this. Like, in other words, he's being fair, saying you can't rely on your political candidates. You got to rely on Jesus. But the point is that sometimes you got to hold your nose and vote. I remember my father used to.
hold your nose and vote.
You got to hold your nose. My father, I go, Dad, who'd you vote for? Like I'm like 88, right? Like Bush Dukakis. He goes, Danny boy, I think I voted for Bush, but I don't know. 92. Dad, who'd you vote for? I voted for Bush, but I don't know. 96. I voted for Dole, but you know what? I don't know. 2000. I voted for Bush, but I don't know. Like he wasn't going to be satisfied no matter what. He just had to hold his nose and vote.
But he stayed to a party.
He did, but he wasn't a Republican. He was a Republican, but he was more of a centrist.
Yes.
I think he voted that way because he was a Christian, but at the same time, like I think he knew in the back of his mind, Clinton was a better option for steelworkers and Americans because he was a steelworker than Bush. But he felt like in his conscience he had to vote Bush. But it ended up working out for everybody. The 90s were awesome. You know what I'm saying? It ended up working out for everybody, didn't it?
Were great.
You know?
We had a good time.
We did.
We had a good time. Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. Yankees
Yes.
on the way to the World Series.
Yes.
Most likely
First time in 15 years.
most likely taking on the LA Dodgers.
We'll see. The Dodgers play tonight. They could go 7 games. By the time people listen to this, we may know already. But I mean, I would love to. It doesn't matter. I just want to see the NLCS go 7 games. But the Yankees Dodgers series might be the best option to capture America's imagination, because the Yankees Mets, like, America's not going to watch.
No.
Yankees Dodgers, America will tune in.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Shohei Ohtani is his own storyline, and then Judge and
Soto
Carlos
and
Soto.
Giancarlo.
Who's the kid who plays third base?
Jazz Chisholm has been playing
Jazz
third
Chisholm.
base. The Yankees got him from Florida.
He is.
He
man.
loved Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter used to own part of the Marlins,
Yeah.
and he kind of mentored Jazz. And I don't know if he talked Brian Cashman into trading for him, but he's been kind of a bit of a catalyst.
Yeah, Jazz
You know?
Chisholm is an impressive guy.
Well, he's got the
I gotta say.
personality of like Keon Coleman with the Bills.
Yeah.
He's got that kind of
Right,
personality.
right.
He's like a big kid.
Yeah.
And he's been good for the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees, like, this year, I can see why people don't watch baseball anymore, though, because the game really is really boring and analytics have brought it down. But I mean, the Yankees they won 94 games and they weren't even that good. Like, they only had 2 or 3 guys hitting the ball at any time. Like, if they didn't acquire Soto, they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't even be a playoff team. If Judge got hurt at any point in the season, they wouldn't be here. But I'm thrilled, man.
Yeah.
I told my wife, she was sleeping. She was like, fell asleep. I'm like, we're going to the World Series. She goes, oh, that's great, honey. That's great. You get tickets? I'm like, well, no, we can't really go to that, but I'd love to. Okay, I'm going to bed.
All right.
I'm watching post-game shows till 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm sure you were, because you're
Get up
weird
for
like
church
that.
at 8.
Yes, that's my man. I actually did a spin class this morning.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you still teach boxing?
No.
Oh, no?
I do not.
Okay.
I should, but I don't.
So I was hitting the heavy bag yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So I wrapped my hands, and like one of my gloves like cuts into my like knuckles. So I got to figure out how to tape that up.
Are you wrapping in between?
Well, no, I got like a wrap glove, and then I put the
I don't know.
UFC gloves over those, so
I'm
they can my fingers kind of come out of them. So I wonder if I got to use real boxing gloves
I'm
to hit
not
the bag.
familiar with
UFC
either
gloves?
one of those.
UFC gloves
I
have
know,
more
I know what
padding.
they are, but yeah.
Like, imagine that glove
But
that
you're not
Josh Allen wears on his left hand. They're kind of like that, but
Yeah,
but you can see your fingertips.
but you're not wrapping.
No.
No. I don't know much about that. Most of the time, you're not hitting that hard that it really matters. But if you're getting cut,
Mm-hmm.
usually that's a loose fitting glove.
Yeah.
That's rubbing against your skin.
Probably. Okay.
Yeah, a
I
little
got to tighten
friction.
up.
Get a little friction there, Danny.
Yeah.
Need something for the friction. Put a little Vaseline.
Bro,
on
you
it.
should do boxing lessons for every podcast on the video version. Here's
yeah,
your tip today.
We could do some boxing stuff. Do some boxing workouts for
Mhm.
sure.
You and Kevin.
Yeah. That could be-
No, remember he wanted me to box that one
Yes.
boxer, Algeria.
yeah, Algeria Johnson.
I'm like,
Yeah.
she could sneeze on me, I'd fall over.
Algeria Johnson was some real stuff.
She
for-
brought in
for
2
sure.
championship belts
Yes,
that were like
she did.
30 pounds a piece.
Yeah, she did. And we did mitts over there.
Yeah,
You
she
saw
was
her.
good, man.
You saw how quick she was.
You're like, going, do 2, 3, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2.
Yeah,
And she did it, man.
Yeah, she knew it right away. Right. That is 2-3-2. It's a great combo,
Mhm.
right? Because you're we'll close it up. I know it's a little early on a Sunday after Buffalo Bills win. What was the score? 33-10?
34-10.
34-10.
34-10.
34-10. We'll wrap it out. The Yankees on the way to the World Series.
Yes.
Which is an exciting thing for Danny.
Starts Friday, I believe.
Yes, it's a
Because the NFL is so popular, they have to like actually do the games around football.
makes a lot of sense. I would tell anybody to be very careful when you see things online, to not let it affect you. If it's written about you or near you or someone you care about, water off a duck's back.
Who cares?
Right?
Let it
Water
go.
off a duck's back. Got to kind of be like
Summertime, you go.
People really don't care about you. They don't. They're like when words come out about things, at the end of the day, it doesn't make a difference. You're 1,000 people to 1,000 people anyway. So who cares?
That is true. That is very true. For Dan Barillo, who thank you for saving me tonight. I had too much at Mulconnery's watching the end of the game. I watched the first half at home.
Mm-hmm.
Figured they figured it out, and I
You have more
certainly-
faith than I did.
Well, I just
I'm sitting there doing halftime adjustments with my wife. She's like, I have to
What are
make
all
lunch.
these notes, by the way?
Oh yeah, this is.
Hold it up to the camera. Look at this. Give me just hang on a second. Before we get
So I have 4 columns at the top: fumbles, interceptions, downs, and drops.
Yeah.
Meaning, I split a line between each one of them. Meaning, who fumbled on each team,
Yeah.
who intercepted on each team. By the way, DeMar Hamlin just keeps lucking into stats, doesn't he?
Well, DeMar Hamlin, is he that good or no?
No, he's not.
Okay.
I mean, that one touchdown that
Is
Tyler
he
Rapp
like
broke
the-
up last week.
Is he the
He fell
backup?
asleep on that.
Is he the backup to the backup?
He
Kind of player,
he's kind of
like-
there because like Cole Bishop hasn't come of age yet. But I mean, like when we were talking last year, like we didn't think he was going to make the team, but
Well,
he
that's
made
what
it because
I'm
he had
saying,
so many endorsements. They kept it because
Is he the
you
back?
can't cut a guy who just died.
But if we were going to do that, is he the backup to the backup? Like we got a backup.
No,
guy
he's an
who-
NFL player.
Okay.
He's just not my first choice to go play free safety. But he had an interception today, and then you got your drop category, which is my favorite because every time a player drops a ball, you're like, oh, I mean, there were so many drops that could have changed the situation in the game. Like Epinesa, I mentioned, dropped an
Yeah.
interception. Titans
Right.
go on and kick a field goal.
Right.
Titans kept like third down after third down after third down. At one point, I don't think the Bills had their first down until their 4th drive. Coleman on that big play. That was their first down.
Yeah.
I mean, they kept shooting themselves in the feet, but they got it figured out.
All right. Well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
On the way to the Super Bowl, baby.
Here we go.
All right, Cooper.
Get out of the trade.
the Coop.
Coop,
Bring
there it
in.
is.
For Dan Barillo, who's got a birthday party to get to and just bringing it. Yankees fan, got his Yankees hat on, happy about the Buffalo Bills, bringing us all kinds of good information. I am Bill Moran. We will see you tomorrow.
Woke up in the hotel, didn't know what to do. I turned the TV on and wrote a letter to you. The news was talking about a dragnet up on the interstate. See, they were looking.